Still dealing with shoulder pain even after months of mobility drills and tons of rotator cuff work? You're probably missing the real and true source of the pain. As a physical therapist, here's what I want every weightlifter to understand. You can't fix shoulder pain without looking at the neck, the thoracic spine, and the scapula. Let me show you why and how to actually fix it for good. Hey, I'm Dr. Corey. I'm a physical therapist who specializes in helping weightlifters return to lifting pain-free who have been dealing with nagging shoulder issues for years and years and years. We help weightlifters move pain-free, return to the gym, and stay active while doing so. Shoulder pain is one of the most common things that I see. And you know what's even more common? Weightlifters wasting time treating the wrong area. If you're foam rolling your shoulders, stretching your pecs, or doing endless banded external rotations without any type of relief, then this video is for you. Let's break down the 3 most overlooked areas you must assess in order to fully and properly correct your shoulder issues. The cervical spine, otherwise known as the neck, is a hidden contributor of shoulder pain, especially if the pain's in the front of the shoulder or radiates down your arm, even down into the fingers. And here's why. There's nerves that start at the neck and supply the muscles of the shoulder and the arm, forearm, and the wrist. Tightness, poor posture, or disc issues can create referred pain that mimics a rotator cuff injury. And all this means is that people can get confused where if their pain's in one area, sometimes they don't understand it could be coming from the neck as a direct source of why it started. Now, 2 quick tests you can do is 1 is active range of motion, 2 is the upper limb tension test. Let's start with active range of motion. Have your arms by your side. You can see the video here. We're just going to try and bend the chin down to the chest, which is called cervical flexion. You want to know if you have any stiffness in the back of the neck or any pain on the shoulder or towards the side of the upper trap or anywhere down the arm. The next test is going to be the opposite. It's going to be extension, where you go straight back to the ceiling as far as you can. You want to know if you have any stiffness or tightness in the front of the neck and if that increases symptoms at all down the arm. If it reproduces your symptoms and it's burning, numbness, and tingling, that could potentially mean it's coming from the neck, not truly the shoulder. Now, another test we want to do is called the upper limb tension test. As you see here, you want to take your painful arm, place it behind your body with your palm facing forward, reach your hands back to the wall behind you, and then side bend away from the area. This is going to put all the nerves on stretch from the neck and from the wrist. And if you have any irritated nerves or anything inflamed there causing irritation and pinching of those nerves, it's going to be positive, meaning you're going to have pain, you're going to have numbness and tingling anywhere from the neck all the way down to the fingers. It could be just one spot, it could just be the fingers and not the neck, or it could be the neck and not the fingers. It just kind of depends on what you're currently dealing with. But if this is a positive test, it could indicate that there's some type of issue like a first rib elevated here that's compressing the nerves, or a disc herniation in the neck, meaning the nerves getting pinched at the neck, or it could be something else called thoracic outlet syndrome, where you have tight scalene muscles or tight pec minor muscle that could be compressing the nerves that run under the armpit here. Now, how do you fix this? You want to improve your neck posture throughout the day. You can do things like chin tucks, which are really simple, by pushing your head back to the wall behind you as you're sitting in a chair. This can be very effective if you do about 10 reps 3 times throughout your day. Mobility drills for your mid-back also help a lot, but addressing the nerve by doing things like nerve gliders can tend to help too, or nerve static openers. And you want to do these, first before you move on to shoulder exercises. Otherwise, if you do shoulder stuff too early, it's going to make your nerve pain worse. And the bottom line here is if you skip working on the neck, you might miss the root cause of your shoulder pain and potentially make it worse and worse. Now, the second area is the thoracic spine or mid-back, which plays a huge role in the development of shoulder pain, especially overhead movement. If it's stiff or locked up, your shoulder joint has to do way more work than it should. Proper thoracic extension, your ability to kind of bend your back the opposite way, allows your scapula to tilt and rotate properly on the rib cage. Without it, you can end up with a poor scapular rhythm, which leads to impingement or things like tendinitis or bursitis. 2 quick tests here are shoulder flexion and shoulder abduction. Very simply for shoulder flexion, you want to turn to the camera with the painful side facing you, thumbs up, arms straight. You're going to reach all the way up and over your head as high as you can. You want to know where in the range of motion you tend to get pain. Most people with impingement get pain at 90 degrees, and then it goes away, then it comes back here, and it goes away, comes back at the top. Okay, maybe that's you, maybe not. Shoulder abduction is a similar test where your hands are out to the side, thumbs are up, and you trace a big circle coming up and over your head. You want to know where you feel that pain. Again, we want to see if you have a painful arc of motion, which means you have pain in this plane of motion from 90 degrees to here that dissipates towards the top. If you do, you may be dealing with some type of things like impingement, bursitis, tendinitis, kind of like I mentioned before. To fix this, you can mobilize with a foam roller, kind of leaning backwards over it. You can do some kind of bench thoracic openers with your elbows on the end of the bench to help kind of create more space between the shoulder blades. Or you can help work on training postural endurance. And you can do that through doing things like rows and scapular retractions or scapular pull-ups. And here's a really, really important note to make. You can't move well up top of the neck if your mid-back is kind of locked down. If you fix your mid-back, it's going to fix your neck and vice versa. The two need to work in unison together with each other to help them both move well and take strain off the shoulder. Now, the third and final area is the scapular shoulder blade. This is the most commonly never addressed area. If it isn't moving right, it means your rotator cuff isn't working properly. And the scapula acts as the foundation of your shoulder. Every pressing, pulling, or overhead movement relies on tilting, rotating, and gliding properly. This means the scapula needs to work very well and the mechanics of the shoulder rely on it. Weak lower traps, poor serratus anterior activation, or overused and strong upper traps tend to be the common things that cause these issues. You get instability, rotator cuff strains, or even impingement. Now, two quick tests are shoulder clearance test and shoulder internal rotation and external rotation. Shoulder clearance test is very simple. You take your painful hand, put it on the opposite shoulder, and you lift up your elbow as high as you can, keeping a finger or two in contact with the current shoulder. And you want to know if you have any pain or pinching. Positive tests if you can't get above shoulder height and you have some significant pain compared to your other side as you do the test. If you're limited in range of motion, that can also be a positive test. And then moving on to our last test, we're stressing more of the rotator cuff here in the labrum. You're going to have your painful shoulder to the side of the camera, bring your elbow up to 90 degrees so the elbow is in alignment with the shoulder, wrist in alignment with the elbow, and we're going to pull the fist back as far as we can and note how we feel, and then pull down as far as we can and note how we feel. If we have pain with both of those, it could mean that there's some rotator cuff involvement there. Some common things you can see too is excessive shrugging or excessive arching of your lower back. So you want to pay attention to those two things. Now, to fix these issues, we want to train your serratus anterior, train your lower traps, open up your mid back, and upward rotation drills are very effective where you put a foam roller on the wall and you kind of slide up the wall to turn on some of those muscles. We want to also improve scapular endurance, which is going to help support you under that load that you're lifting. And just a keynote, it's important to not just treat the shoulder, but instead treat the system that underlies and supports it. Now, to kind of recap everything that we talked about, you can hammer shoulder rehab exercises all day long, but if you ignore the neck or the thoracic spine or even the scapula, you're not going to truly fully fix it. So start with assessments, address mobility in the spine, build control and strength around the scapula, and then load the shoulder intelligently and slowly over time. This is how you get back to pain-free bench pressing, overhead pressing, and even push-ups. So at the neck, look for mobility restrictions or nerve-driven issues. At the thoracic spine, fix posture and improve your shoulder mechanics. And at the scapula, lastly, train those stabilizers to help it move properly to improve the mechanics of the joint and keep that shoulder blade flush against that rib cage. This is the difference between putting a band-aid on your shoulder pain and solving it from the ground up. If you found this helpful, drop a like, comment below, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos coming up every Friday. Stay strong, stay smart, and keep lifting pain-free.